This is the Rite in the Rain number 16. It's an all-metal bolt-action space pin made in the USA, all for $30. There are not a lot of reviews of this thing, so I figured I would attempt to make one that is thorough but not too crazy long, so that's what I'm going to attempt to do in this video. I'm going to be doing this in one take with zero editing, so if I say anything silly, I will try and correct that in the comment section. So let's get into it. As you can see, it has sort of a tactical aesthetic to it, but this is not a tactical pin. There is no glass breaker. The tip is not particularly pointy, and there's no special features like a flashlight or anything like that, so it's really just a regular bolt action pen. It comes in this one variant. I believe the body is made of aluminum because it is not magnetic, and it's very lightweight. And for the coating, it is just this one color, black. I believe it's like a type 2 hard coat anno or something like that. It's not super scratch resistant, so just keep that in mind. Another note on the aesthetics is that it has very minimal branding. There's no logos or anything like that on this pen. The only branding is this number 16 here, so that's much appreciated. For the fit and finish, you know, it's $30 and it's made in America, which is a lot more expensive than being made in China or something like that. So the fit and finish is not going to be anything that impressive, but it's not terrible. I will note that when I got it, the clip was actually kind of bent off to the side a little bit like that, and only one side of it was touching the body, but you can just bend it in the opposite direction, and once you do that far enough, it will fix itself to be centered again. I'm reading from a script right now, so I'm going to be pausing a little bit. From what I can tell, the clip and the bolt are made of steel. I think that because the coating doesn't look quite as thin. Like, as you can see up here, it's very sharp, and then this is more, I don't know if you can catch on camera, but it just looks more like paint. So I think the clip and bolt are painted and made of steel, I assume. The clip works really well. It goes in and out of the pocket super easily, and it's not going to scratch up your fabric or anything like that. I will note that it's not particularly tight, so if you get it hooked on something, it will pull out of your pocket pretty easily, so just be cognizant of that. For the action, this is a bolt action, so the action is going to be pretty important to most people buying this, and I'm actually pleasantly surprised. The springiness is actually pretty strong. It's kind of similar, I think, to like a tactile turn or something like that. So that was a pleasant surprise. It's actually very smooth as well. I would say it's as smooth, if not smoother, than a tactile turn. I'm talking about the tactile turn because that's the only other pen that I've gotten before this one. And yeah, it's really smooth. I don't know if that's because it's anodized or what, but really smooth. It does rattle a little bit. It might be hard to hear that with the cars in the background, but it definitely does rattle, and it's much worse when you first get it, but as it breaks in, that does get a lot better. When you first get it, there's kind of a bit of a crunchiness because the bolt wiggles in and out a little bit, so it kind of like crunches in every time you press down on it, but that smoothens up and gets a lot better as you fidget with the pen. It took about 1 or 2 days to break in for me. The bolt is not super comfortable because it is like a 90-degree angle on the edge. If it were rounded more like that, then it would feel softer, but if you are going to fidget with this for hours on end, it's going to hurt your thumb a little bit. The edges inside of here are slightly chamfered, so they don't feel sharp or anything like that, so that's a nice touch. Here's the sound. It does sound like it has a pretty good spring in it. It's not a super solid and clean sound like the higher end pens are going to be, but I wouldn't say it's a bad sound. It just, it sounds better when it breaks in as well. So yeah, pretty good sound. Not crazy though. As far as doing it quietly, if you're like in an office or something like that, I like to just use 2 fingers and go back and forth like this. So it can be done, but it does squeak a little bit. It's not doing it too much right now. I'm not sure why, but it's not totally silent. So just keep that in mind. For reliability, I believe that this is 100% metal. I couldn't find any plastic parts on the inside. The only thing that's not metal is there might be an O-ring in here, but I actually don't even think there's that. So it should be very reliable, and it's a bolt action, so they last a long time. So reliability should be pretty good. For maintenance, that is the biggest downside of this thing. You really can't maintain it very much. You can replace the Rite in the Rain cartridge, of course, but beyond that, there's not much else you can do. If you bend this clip, you're kind of screwed. You can't bend it back in because you can't take it out. If you screw this cap off, the clip actually goes in and then down, and you can't push it out. So you really can't fix this clip if it gets damaged. Same thing for the bolt. I tried with a pair of pliers. That's why it's so scratched up. I also applied heat, and I absolutely could not get this thing out. So if you get gunk in here, it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt to clean. You're going to have to use like brake cleaner or something like that. I don't know if you'd use that. I don't know what you would use, but that's just a pain in the butt. So you really cannot clean this thing very easily or repair it or anything like that. So it's $30, so it's not a gigantic issue, but still just a big downside in my opinion. For the ergonomics, it is a thin pen. It is 3/8 inches thick, or 0.38 inches. So it's definitely on the slim side. If you like the slim pens, you'll probably enjoy that. If you like the thicker pens, probably not for you. It is 1.1 ounces, so pretty lightweight. As I mentioned, it is aluminum, I think. And for the overall length, it is 5 inches and 5 3/4 inches. So definitely a full-sized pen. It has this grip up here, which kind of collects like oils from your skin. So if you like the really smooth tips, you're not gonna like that too much, but it is flat all the way to here, so your fingers aren't gonna slide off of it. So I appreciate that. So yeah, ergonomics are, it's a pen. I don't know if I've ever necessarily picked up an uncomfortable pen, but that's pretty much everything I have to say about the ergonomics. For a tip wiggle, I'm not going to demonstrate right now because I just have one hand, but it does have a tiny bit of tip wiggle. I don't feel it too much when I'm writing, but I do occasionally feel it. So if that's a big issue for you, then probably wouldn't recommend this, but it's not like terrible tip wiggle. For the refill, this is a Rite in the Rain pen. So same idea as a Fisher Space pen. It has one of those pressurized cartridges. You just unscrew it right here. That's the gap. And then it takes the Rite in the Rain refills. I think it also takes the Fisher Space pen refills. For the performance of the refill, I actually did a test here. So this is a Bic Crystal, just your cheap pens, standard cheap pen. This is the Rite in the Rain. This is a Fisher Space pen that I remembered I had after, which is why it's over here, not over here. And then this is just a gel pen. I don't know what brand it is. So for the line quality, it's not anything crazy, but that's not really the point of this refill. Compared to the Fisher Space pen over here, it's a little bit less dark. Not too bad as far as skipping goes. So it writes okay. But really the point is that it writes upside down and underwater and stuff like that. I can confirm it writes upside down. This is my water test. It was wet here. So let's see. This is the Bic Crystal pen. Actually did surprisingly well. Quite a bit of skipping. This half was on wet paper, and then this half was on basically very wet paper, like covered in water. This was just kind of moistened. As you can see, it does handle the slightly wet paper a lot better. Same with pretty much all of these pens. I also put water on this side after writing, whereas on this side, I just put it on before writing. This is the gel pen, so actually quite a bit more, quite a bit darker, but a lot of smearing. So I'm kind of surprised at how well that did, but it still doesn't look great. I would say pretty much any pen is going to do okay on wet paper just from this test. Oh, and here's the wet test for the Fisher Space Pen. I want to note, comparing the Fisher Space Pen to the Rite in the Rain pen, the Fisher Space Pen actually kind of turns blue. It's black when writing on dry paper, but this is sort of blue, and it smears a whole lot better. I have seen this in other videos as well, so it's not just me. As you can see, there's not much smearing with the Rite in the Rain here, but the Fisher Space Pen smears quite a bit, even more so than the BK pen, and that's got something to do with the way the ink is. Moving on to the oil test, because these are advertised as writing in oil, I would say none of these pens really handle oil particularly well. This was writing on paper that I just put some oil on and kind of worked it in. This is like a puddle of oil on this side, so pretty much everything failed on this side. Surprisingly, this is kind of hilarious to me, but the gel pen handled the oil the best. I assume that's because it's water-based and the other ones are oil-based. But yeah, it didn't smear very much or anything. Definitely write with gel if you just know you're going to be writing on oil a lot. On this side, the just oily paper as opposed to like the puddle of oil. Again, the gel pen surprisingly did the best. And then the BK versus the Rite in the Rain, pretty much the same. So yeah, basically it doesn't do great with oil. But hopefully you're not going to be writing on oil very much. And then the Fisher Space Pen did pretty well with the oil. I'd say that it's better with oil than the Rite in the Rain pen. So yeah, there is the cartridge test for you. Back to the pen itself. A few miscellaneous points here. As I mentioned, if you like a clean look, then you probably won't appreciate that grime gets stuck in here and that, it's hard to clean and whatnot. Also, because they put this gap here for the tip instead of down here, when you are fidgeting with it out of the box, sometimes because you're holding it here and rotating, sometimes it actually opens up and starts unscrewing. A lot of people complained about that on Amazon. I just tightened it down really good with my hands and it hasn't unscrewed on me. So your mileage may vary, but that wasn't a big deal for me. If you want to fix that, you can just apply some blue Loctite, not red, because that will be permanent. Onto the value for this knife. It is $30. It is made in America. I don't know of any other pens like that, so I can't speak too much about the value, but I don't think it's particularly bad or good. I think it's just about what you'd expect for a $30 bolt action pen made in America. So yeah, nothing too noteworthy on the value. As far as who this is for, who would I recommend it to? Well, like I said, it's a pretty unique pen considering that it's made in America at this price. So people who want like the least expensive USA made bolt action, this is definitely for you. Also, people who want a bolt action pen that just ships with a space pen cartridge in it. I don't know of many other pens like that as well, so this would be good for you as well. But that's about it. I think there's better options for most other people. If you just want a nicer pen and you're willing to spend a little bit of extra money, you could spend that on a better pen from China, because they do make really good pens actually. For that, you're looking at brands like Refine, Big Idea Design, and Bastion. Those are going to have a better combination of materials, fit, finish, design, action, pretty much everything all around. If you want to spend less money than this, there are also cheaper Chinese pens. Rite in the Rain actually makes one that might be made in China, not sure, but there's also one from Olight and Smoother Pro on Amazon. I can't speak to any of these brands because I haven't tried them, but I'm just telling you what else is out there. If you have all the money in the world and you don't care about the price, you just want a really good bolt action pen, and you want one that's made in America, you're looking at brands like Tactile Turn. I actually wouldn't recommend their bolt action pens though. Also Arno Bernard, Machine Wise, Grimsmo, Smooth Precision. I think those ones are discontinued, the last brand, Smooth Precision. If you want a space pen type deal, but you want to save a lot of money, you're looking at the Tombow Airpress, the Unipowered Tank, and the Pilot Downforce. Those are going to be a lot lighter weight. They're also far cheaper to refill, like many times cheaper to refill. They're not going to be quite as durable though, so just keep that in mind. And they work differently than this. They don't have pressurized cartridges. The pen pressurizes the ink instead. So check those out. And then if you just want to spend around $30, but you want something much more elegant than this and you don't care where it's made, or you don't care that it's bolt action, you might want to check out pens from Cross, Waterman, and the Parker Drotter pen, stuff like that. So yeah, that is the full review. Let's see, it was about 17 minutes, so not too crazy long. The first time I tried to record this, it was half an hour. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful and you don't mind helping me out, I'd really appreciate you hitting the like button. That's just going to help more people to see this video, and then hopefully it can help them as well. So thank you for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day. Bye.